under the flag, are proud to sponsor a candidate debate tonight between the 4 candidates who are vying for the House nomination to take on Earl Pomeroy come this November. We have a nice crowd on hand at the Double Win. Let's hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Thank you for showing up. We appreciate it very much. And tonight you're going to get an opportunity to hear from each of these candidates and ask questions in the audience. And for those of you listening on the air or watching online at scotthannon.com and am1100.tv, we appreciate it. Joe Miller is our moderator tonight, youngest state senator in the legislature. Give Joe a big hand. And Joe, you want to just quickly introduce each of the candidates and give us the format, and then we'll get started. And again, if you have questions, come up to this microphone right here, or raise your hand and we'll come to you. Joe, take it away.
We're going to start with J.D. Donaghy from Kenmare, and he's going to kick us off with a 3-minute introduction of himself, and we're going to go down the line here, and what we're going to have is questions from the audience. For those of you listening at home, if you want to email me at joe@votejoemiller.com, I will try and include your question. We got kind of just a short answer and about a minute to answer each of these questions, but we're going to start with a 3-minute introduction. So, JD, go ahead.
3-minute introduction. Well, that should be sufficient. I tell you, us slow talking folks, 1 minute's hardly even getting my name out. But my name's J.D. Donaghy, live up in Kenmare, North Dakota, and I am a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives. A lot of folks keep asking about my accent. I guess evidently most folks don't know that up in Kenmare we all talk like this. No, the truth is I'm from South Kenmare. You know, I'm here tonight in defense of my freedom. I'm here tonight in defense of the freedom of this nation. Year after year they continue to encroach upon our liberties. And we've got to rise up and pull together and put a stop to it. Now, I have no political experience whatsoever. I'm a working man. Been a working man all my life. I've been a small business owner for 20 years now, and a single dad for 12 years now. I have 3 children. I'd say I'm qualified as a professional problem solver. And I think that's what we need today are some solutions. We've got lots of ideas, lots of suggestions. We've got lots of angst and anxiety. We've got a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback. But if we're going to be successful, folks, in our campaign here, we the people successful in our campaign here, we're going to have to pull together and come around a common agenda and charge. We're going to have to get focused and come together as one people here and root out that evil up in Washington, D.C. Now, they've been able to conquer us through division so far. They hyphenate our names, and we've got D's and R's behind our names, and they separate us by class and by sex and gender, and if that's not enough, they'll start calling us things like conservatives and liberals and all kinds of evil, mean names. We can afford that no longer. We've got to pull together, folks. Our forefathers were able to build this great nation based on a revolution against taxation without representation. We find ourselves in the same position today, and we're going to have to decide what kind of people we're going to be. Are we going to rise up and pull together as one? Are we going to rally around a common cry for freedom? Or are we going to let this opportunity slip away? I say it starts today. I say it starts right here, our March for Freedom. I've drafted the Freedom Agenda to give us something to rally around. 7 legislative propositions that will give us a foundation to go forward on. A current date Bill of Rights, if you will. I see my time's up, so I appreciate you having me here tonight. I look forward to the debate.
All right, thanks, J.D. We're now hear from Representative Rick Byrd.
A couple of mics, we got to move around here. Thank you. It's been kind of interesting week. Certainly, we heard the flood was coming, and it's going to come the week after this coming week, and then the last few days warmed up and the water really started pouring in. Actually, this afternoon I was helping neighbors do some sandbagging, and we had some sandbagging in low spots at our house, but it kind of struck me really why I'm in this race. You know, neighbors get together, they know what needs to be done, and they get the job done. We didn't wait around for government to come and tell us, okay, we're going to bring you sandbags, we're going to put them up, and we're going to do that, although that's an important part of this whole flood fight. But I was really, when I got into this race, it was really for the same reasons. You know, when you've got a neighbor's house that's flooding, and if you're able to lift a bag, lift a shovel, help out, you can't not go and help them out. That's what we do as North Dakotans. That's what we do when we're in a crisis. We help each other out. And that's what struck me in December and early January, is our country is in a crisis. It's a huge crisis. And I felt from my 25, 26 years legislative experience of balancing budgets and really seeing what good men and women can do in the legislature with the right long-term focus is what's missing out there. The other thing, obviously, that's missing is any common sense or business sense. And you know, I've been in business for 30 years, and the fundamental for business is you don't spend more than you make. And that, for some reason, seems to work for an individual, seems to work for a family. It works for the state of North Dakota, but they don't get it out in Washington. And so that's the other thing. Washington needs to run just a little bit more like we run our own finances, like a business would be run. But again, back to the flood, as I'm thinking about the flood, I'm thinking, you know, here are the two huge problems that I see in Washington right now. The one is the deficit that's growing. I mean, it's just incomprehensible how you can come up with program after program without any funding source, without balancing the budget. The other is just this expansion of government control. And so, you know, I thought about the flood, and as you watch that river rising, the next few days up to a crest Saturday if it happens, I mean, think about that, because that's what's happening very slowly, is we're having, again, an expansion of government control and a growth of our deficit that someone's going to have to pay the price for. And so, again, I also want to thank the flag for doing this. I want to thank Joe. I mean, this is what's critical this election. I mean, obviously, I'd like to be the endorsed candidate. But if I'm not the endorsed candidate, we have to all rally behind one of these people here and support them so we can get a vote out in Washington, D.C. Because this is a political game. I mean, I know how it works in the legislature. You got to have the votes. And we need the votes. We need to beat Earl Palmer in November. Thank you.